Hey boys, welcome back to some more Nrl Supercoach. It's going to be the round 26 preview, and well, we've got a bit of a situation on our hands now. Granted, we've pretty much copped it as bad as it can get, but we're not. It's still not horrendous. Let's say. We are going to have to use our final trade, and that's sort of the blessing here, is that it's going to make this, I guess, penultimate week of Supercoach a bit more exciting, because we got one trade. We got one trade to burn. It's a big trade. Plenty of good options, and we don't want to screw ourselves for the end of the season. But I think we should be okay next week. Even with mass restings, we still have really good depth in the squad. We don't have many Eels. We've only got Bryce Cartwright, so the final round of Supercoach, I think we should be pretty good. It's just this week is a bit of a tricky one with what happens. So the big news coming out, obviously, Tedesco is out. You would, well, you never know, but you would expect him to play the final game against the Bunnies. So, obviously, we're going to keep him. Latrell Mitchell, fucking, honestly baffling that they took the early plea, so he's missing one game, which I don't understand. Like, they literally need to win that final game against the Roosters, and I'm shocked. I mean, I'm assuming that they probably got guidance that it was going to be very tough to actually downgrade the charge and just cop a fine, I guess. That's all I can think of. And it was just like, well, there's no real chance to downgrade, so just take the early plea. But if they lose, like, I'm not going to be confident of the Rabbits winning that final game against the Roosters. And if they lose, they're out. Like, I don't know. I find it a bit strange. But regardless, it actually makes our decision a little bit easier. Like I was saying in the last video, if Mitchell did get it downgraded, and then I still had all these guys out, it would have been a really tough choice of, do I get rid of Tedesco or Mitchell? Because if they were both back for the final round, it's anyone's guess who would come out on top in that game. But now Mitchell is gone, so he is our trade out option. There's no one else to trade out, and also he's in one of the more important positions of fullback, which we don't have a fullback this week. Fucking Tedesco, dude. Ruben Garrick is out? Question mark. Now it's come out that he has got it sounds awful, a fractured back, but as NRL physio has mentioned, I don't know the exact terminology for it, but it's not an injury that is going to get worse if he plays with it. It's more of a pain threshold injury. You know, it's whether or not he can actually get through training or get through an actual game with the pain. He's still on the extended squad, so I think, honestly, Garrick, I'm assuming he's not going to play this week. I would be shocked if he did, because Manly are out of the finals contention. I'm sure he would like to play the final two games. And I guess at the end of the day, he's on the extended bench, so it's just, I think he'll be like a day-by-day prospect, basically. Maybe if he gets through trainings, like the training days leading up, like not too bad, and then come game day, he can get needled up and he feels okay, then okay, maybe he does come on. I mean, granted, I would like him to play this week because they are taking on the Bulldogs, but I guess at the same time, it's like, well, if he does play with that injury and just the pain, his output's probably not going to be that high regardless. So I don't know. If he plays, it'll be nice. If he doesn't, it is what it is. A lot of people own Garrick, and yeah, we'll see. But he is one, like, if you do somehow have like more than 17 this week, then just keep an eye on late mail with Garrick, just in case you're playing someone who is like coming off the bench, or someone like a Piacora for me, or someone else. Just keep an eye on late mail and just check to see if Garrick may be a late inclusion to the team, because they play Sunday 2 p.m, which is quite annoying actually. But for me it doesn't matter. I don't think. We'll have to look at that. But Garrick's out. Corey Horsburgh, thank God he is playing. So it seemed like he must have passed his HI. Like I said in the last video, I wasn't really listening to the game, so I didn't hear if he had a Cat 1 concussion or whatever, but it looks like he is good to go, which thank God. If Horsburgh was out as well this week, oh man, it fucking pack her up, boys. But he's playing, which is nice. Against the Bronx, again, it's probably not a great matchup, but I don't know. I can feel... I'm a Broncos fan, obviously, but I'm nervous about the game. I just feel like the Raiders are going to turn up this game, and I don't think they're going to win, but I think they're going to play well. That's my guess. So we've got that out of the way, team list, all that sort of good stuff. Now let's have a look at our team on paper. So again, we did cop it terribly. We did cop it really bad with the players out. But we still have a pretty good team. So dummy half, Harry Grant, front row, Tarpany, Horsburgh. Can't argue with that. Can't be disappointed. Back row, so Cartwright, Bateman, Nickera, Fafita, and Harris. And I guess Piacora is there. Oh man, it's annoying because the Broncos obviously had a bye last week, so I gave like Ricky and Capel another sort of bit of a rest week. Otherwise, man, it would have been nice if Piacora just give Capel another week off, or Ricky's back from injury, so you probably want him match fit, but just give fucking Capel a bit of a week off and get Piacora some bigger minutes. That would be lovely. But I don't know, I'm not praying for an injury, but maybe just a little head knock to Capel or Ricky early on. Nothing too drastic, but just take him off and let Piacora run wild. That'd be nice. Get a bit of luck. Would be lovely. But the rest of it's fine. I mean, fucking having to play Tohu Harris this week after scoring 3 tries in a row. It is another good matchup against the Dragons, don't get me wrong, but there is like fucking... He's like 1%, like he's fucking no chance of scoring 4 on the trot, right? Maybe just a try assist. Come on, man. Bryce Cartwright, it's annoying they're taking on the Panthers, so that's not a good matchup for Cardi. And also, I think it was Sean Lane is on the bench this week, which I don't think it matters, but it could. You never know with Brad Arthur. This week of all weeks, probably he'll take Cartwright off after 50 minutes and just absolutely ruin my week once again. But surely, I mean, Cartwright's right edge pretty much the whole year. Sean Lane is a left edge forward, so I'd imagine what they're going to do is Madison will move into the middle. Hopgood will probably get a bit of a spell, or they'll just play like, a smaller front row for a while, and Lane will go to the left, and hopefully Cartwright plays the full 80. The rest of it, it's fine. If Cartwright can jag something, if Bateman can jag something, it would be lovely, because he's obviously a pretty decent pod this week as well. Dave Fafita, obviously. With Kieran Foran back again, it's a tough matchup, but on the edges, the Storm have not been great defensively, so I'm not actually that concerned about Fafita. It's more of if the Melbourne Storm flog the Titans and he gets an early spell, maybe. Our halves, Cleary and Hines, no problem. Kalen Ponga 5'8". Our centre wing, Manu, obviously he's gone. So I guess the blessing is Manu's gone to fullback, although I think most people own Manu, or I would have thought so. Surely most people own Manu coming pretty well in the season. But yeah, he's gone to fullback, so Manu becomes like very, very good this week. Greg Marju, Mulatalo. Who are the Sharks playing? The Knights? Yeah, I don't hate that Mulatalo matchup. And then CNK, also good. Obviously, we got Garrick. We'll see. And then no fullback. So, we have got... I guess take Garrick off reserves for now. Piacora. So, we have got 16 players we're going to be making one trade of Mitchell. So we'll have 17. We'll have a strong 16, and then obviously Pierre Cora stinks it up a bit, but if he can just jag it, he's done it before. He's played like off the bench for very few minutes and jagged an attacking stat. He's got it in him, and this would be the fucking week to do it. This would be the week to do it. But yeah, the team is good still. I'm really not that concerned about the team this week. There's a couple of players that, yeah, I'd love to have. But overall, I think it's a pretty strong team on paper. Just pause for a second. Okay, I'm back. The damn dog locked himself in the room, so of course, as soon as I start, he starts whimpering and wanting to get out, but that's okay. He's a good boy. he can do what he wants. But yeah, the team is good on paper. I can't be disappointed. And yeah, and like I said, for next week, will be sweet. I mean, Cartwright's going to be gone, but that's fine. Cartwright has literally probably been my best. He's probably been the best decision all year, I would think, Cartwright. He's just done the job for me for the whole season. It'll be interesting to see, actually, how many players I started with I've actually kept, and there's not many. Like, Cartwright is one of the very few, if not only. Yeah, the team has changed a lot, so Cartwright has stuck it out, and he gets a well-earned rest next week. But, you know, all the Rabbits will be back on board. Johnston, who, I don't know, do we play Johnston? I don't know. Cody Walker will be back. Damien Cook will be back in case Grant gets rested, so that'll be lovely. Honestly, I'm honestly really, well, fuck. The Storm, they're going to be playing the fucking Broncos, so you know for a fact the Storm are not going to rest any players against the Bronx. They just won't. Yeah, that's annoying. I would love, it would be magical if Grant got a rest next week against my team, the Bronx, and also to screw with Supercoaches, because I'll have Damien Cook as a backup. It would be so lovely, but he's not going to, right? He'll probably get a spell this week against the Titans, I would think, but that's fine. It is what it is. But yeah, we'll worry about that. Again, going through like the final round, I don't want to get into this too much in this video, but we'll go through it quickly. Resting potentials. So obviously Tedesco might not play, but if he's fit, I would assume he'll come back straight in. Who in the back line? CNK, maybe gets a rest if the Warriors are locked into to a position. Although, you know, he's missed a fair bit of footy with head knocks. I think he'll probably want to play. I think probably a couple of their forwards, maybe even Johnson, it would be more likely to rest than CNK, but you never know. Anyone else here? Not really. Kalen Ponga, I don't think he gets a rest. I'd be shocked. Cody Walker will be back regardless. Cleary, Hines, I mean, I would be shocked if Hines gets a rest. I got to be honest, I would be surprised if Cleary gets a rest just because of the amount of games he missed with his injury. I do think Penrith are going to rest a lot of players. Well, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see next week what they do taking on the Cowboys. It'll be very interesting. It might come down to whether or not, if the Broncos win or lose this game, if Penrith are locked into the minor premiership, they probably do rest quite a few more. If they have to win the game to get the minor premiership, most of them might play, but, you know, depending how much they want that minor premiership, I guess. But I'm saying it right now, there's no shot that both of them get rested. There's no shot, right? Forward packs, obviously no Cartwright. Harris would be a potential resting, I would think. I gotta be honest, I'd be surprised if he didn't get rested in that final round. You'd think Bateman, Nickera would play, Fafita. So honestly, the back row could be a little bit dicey next week if Cartwright not playing, and then if Tohu Harris gets rested, we'll only have 3. And then if something happens to Fafita, Nickera, or Bateman, we could be in a bit of strife, but it is what it is. Front row, I'm just praying that Tarpany and Horsburgh play and don't get injured for next week. And I guess I'm saying Harris gets rested here. If he doesn't, then we got plenty of flexibility in the back row and front row. And he might not. I mean, Harris could have probably got rested so many times this year with the strapping and injuries, but he hasn't. So, I don't know. Do the Warriors just want to keep the momentum going through into the finals? Probably. But we'll see. And then Grant, like I said, they're taking on the Broncos, so I doubt he gets rested, but we got Cook anyway. So it's looking pretty good. But let's go through. So a big decision to make. So Mitchell is straight out of the team. Now we got a lot to consider. Unfortunately, I got to be honest, if I had the money, I probably would have gone Scotty Drinkwater. I just really like his matchup this week against the Dolphins. I can see him going big. He does take on Penrith in the last round, and I mean that's a lottery. If they rest a bunch of players, then Drinkwater could carve up. If they don't, then Drinkwater is going to be potentially a bit of an issue. So we can't get Drinkwater. Pappenhausen obviously can't afford Pappy, but good to see him back. I'm hoping he gets some game time. I really hope he plays this week and not start, but come off the bench and just do. Just get through some minutes. That would be great to see. We're not going to go Gutherson. Obviously, he does have the goal kicking this week, but it's against Penrith, and then he has a bye, so you're not going there. Jermaine Asako, interesting. Taking on the Cowboys this week. He's found a little bit of form back. He's been okay. He's been pretty good. 125. I mean, he's been good the whole year, but Cowboys, Warriors. It's not a bad couple of games, but I think there's better options. Because then we've got, I mean, Dallin Watene-Zelezniak is just like, he's just such an easy trade in. He's still like fairly pottish. I still don't particularly like Dallin. I mean, he scored 3 tries and he got 126, which is fantastic. I mean, 126 is great. Don't get me wrong, but he really needs to score multiple tries to go that well. Because, I mean, if you look back, 58, I'm sure that was with a try. 67 with a try. 48, 95, 64, 23. They do take on the Dragons and the Dolphins, so they're just such good matchups that it's like, you just bring him in, right? Like, he's looking good, and I mean that it would just make watching the Warriors a bit more enjoyable as well, because at the moment watching the Warriors is like so tilting. I like watching them, but then it's like fucking Harris scoring, Vanilla Blake scoring, Sean Johnson carving up. I've got CNK, but CNK, I'm gonna fucking talk about CNK in a second, but he has absolutely dogged me this year. And then Dallin is punishing as well. Reece Walsh is again very tempting. 20%, but I think that's a lot of people probably not in the top echelon. I would expect. I could be wrong about that, but I think he's more of a pod than 20%. If he was goal kicking, I'd be very, very tempted, but Katoni Staggs kicked last time Reynolds was out. I gotta be on, like, Katoni Staggs is actually like the Broncos probably have like 3 of the best kickers in the comp. Like, Reynolds, I actually think has been a bit lackluster, but then you got Katoni Staggs, who hits them so sweetly, is an absolute gun, and then Reece Walsh is he's a sharpshooter as well. I mean, he could be first choice kicker at a lot of clubs as well. So they've got a fucking influx of choices there. But unfortunately, probably you can't bank on Walsh kicking goals. They take on Canberra, which I don't think is going to be easy. I just feel like Canberra's going to turn up this game, and then they have Storm in the last round. So Walsh is pretty matchup proof, I would think. He's just so good, but he does need a lot. He's sort of similar to Dallin. He does need a lot of attacking stats to score well, and he has gone really well, but he does have the low score in him, like Dallin. Dallin probably just has too easy a matchup, so it's like, and also without Adam Reynolds, I still think Walsh can carve up, but Reynolds definitely helps Walsh unlock Walsh just with good early ball, just the kicking game. Like, the kicking game is really underrated because Reynolds kicking it into the corner, the opposition having to kick from deep inside their own end lets Reece Walsh have like beautiful kick returns. Whereas without a good kicking game, the opposition marches upfield, gets to like 50, past the 50-meter line, puts up decent bombs. You don't get those easy kick returns. So there's definitely a drop off there. Nick Meaney, I do like Meaney, but with Pappenhausen now on the bench and potentially coming in, I don't think you could go there. It's just a bit risky because you don't know. Like, I'd be surprised if Pappy just took the kicking duties over because Meaney's been pretty solid, and you'd think they'd want to ease Pappenhausen just back a bit more rather than giving him the goal kicking. But you never know. Pappy could come in. Nick Meaney could go to the bench. He'd go to the centres. It's very up in the air. So I couldn't take the punt on Meaney when I need. They take on the Gold Coast, so it's a beautiful matchup. But I need a play this weekend, next week, really. Edwards, no. Edwards is a prime candidate for a rest in the next couple of weeks. Well, obviously he's not this week, but next week potentially, or even an early spell this week against Para. Depending how the game goes, Dane Laurie has been really good at 5'8", but he's been really good, but he's not a game breaker. The other guy I wanted to look at is Kohler. Now, if this was earlier in the season, oh my god, Kohler would be so juicy. The price doesn't matter because I've got one trade left, but he's gone to fullback with Garrick out. Now, I guess the issue is that, well, if Garrick is a late inclusion, then Kohler goes back to the centre. I don't think it happens, but yeah, they take on the Bulldogs and then West Tigers. Him playing at fullback, I can just see him absolutely carving up. Like, he's so, like, I've been very disappointed with Kohler this year. I just felt like I really thought he was going to kick on this year, and not necessarily just Supercoach wise, just real life footy. He's been good in patches and he's looked electric, and defensively at times still really strong 1-on-1, but I don't know. He's dropped off a little bit this year, unfortunately, and obviously in Supercoach terms as well. He's had the odd big game. Granted, against the Dogs scored 46. That's round 1 of the season. And the Tigers, he has not played yet. But at fullback, I can just see him. I can just see him absolutely tearing up. But I think with Garrick there, it's just a bit too risky. And again, the money, if I had another trade, the money here would be very, very juicy. But the fact I've got one trade left, I think I just go Dallin, right? Like, it just makes sense to go Dallin. Like, Kohler is a super pod, but Dallin's also very poddish still for his scoring. And is Kohler really going to score that much more than Dallin with their two matchups? Maybe, maybe not. I doubt it. And you've never seen him at fullback, so he could struggle. He could struggle under the high ball. He could struggle defensively. So I think it's a bit too risky. So I think out of all these guys, well, we haven't. Before we make that decision, obviously we can look at the just centre wings as well. So let's have a look at centre wings. So unfortunately, can't afford Toto. I would have been very tempted to go Toto over Dallin, because obviously Toto had a rest this week gone. So you'd be very surprised if you had a rest in the final round of the season. It'd be pretty surprising. I hope he does, but I would have liked to have brought him in, but we can't. If Isaac Tungo was back this week, I'd be very close to pulling the trigger just as a final trade, final Hail Mary, but he's not, so can't do it. Dane Gagai. I mean, Gagai's been carving up. The 56 this week is honestly shocking. Like, he looks so good for that 56. I thought he had like 3 or 4 line break assists. He was busting tackles, but he's been so good. So consistent too. He's got the Sharks and the Dragons. They're two good matchups. They're two damn good matchups, man. Oh. Is there anyone else that jumps out at me? Bradman Best. I think Gagai is just the better Bradman Best, honestly. Bradman Best has the odd big game in him when he scores a couple, but he doesn't have the work rate of Gagai, and he doesn't have surprisingly, the tackle breaking of Gagai. He still busts tackles, but not to the extent of a Gagai. And fuck, dude, watching the Knights when they go right, this whole year, Gagai has not missed a bat on. He's playing out of his fucking skin this year. Like, he's always had that silky skill, right? He's always had the tackle breaking. He's always had just that real good touch about him. But this year in particular, every ball across the face, he's just getting these beautiful little tap-ons that are just hitting Dom Young perfectly every time. And it's like, it just give him an inch and they make a line break down that edge. And Dom Young is so quick and athletic that give him a bit of space and it's almost try time every time they go there. So I got to be honest, it's out of Gagai and Dallin. Joseph Suoli'i I was keen on, but the fact Manu's back at fullback now, I got to be honest, I'm sort of off Suoli'i. Manu just, like, Tedesco is not much of a passer either, granted, but he does pass more than Manu. You just know Manu at fullback sweeping around. He's not throwing those nice cutout balls. He does occasionally, but he doesn't really. And also Sammy Walker's back into the team. Does he goal kick? There's every chance that Sam Walker comes back and goal kicks. I mean, Suoli'i's been fucking nailing them. He looks really good, but Walker was the first choice goal kicker, so I think with that risk, I couldn't go Suoli'i. Anyone else jumping out? Katoni Staggs with the goal kicking? No, you can't do it. You can't do it. He could dish up like 20s. Jordan Rapana. Oh, fucking Rapana, dude. I mean, there's no way I would. Again, they're taking on the Broncos as well. It's not a good matchup for them. He hasn't even come close to that. I mean, great, he got 89 against the Bronx in round 6, and then he backs it up with a 79-69. But yeah, no, it's too risky. He just pushes the edge so close to a sin bin or a suspension. I don't need that at the end of the year. Man, they mustn't have counted some of those line breaks, because Dom Young got 34 points. I felt like he had like 3 line breaks. I don't know. Maybe I don't know, man. Anyone else? Timoko. I mean, Tyrone Peachy is pretty fucking tempting, but no. I do think it comes down to Dallin or Dane Gagai. It's a tough one. It's a real tough one. I do feel like Dallin is probably more likely to get a rest next round than Gagai. You know, Dallin had a bit of an ankle issue last week. And there's just something about bringing in a guy who's just come off a massive score that it's like, it just always feels bad. Like, it never lives up to that hype again. Or at least the week after. And Dane Gagai has just been so much more consistent, if we're being honest. Like, he's average of 72, Dallin's averaging 73, 3-round average, 74, 83, 5-round. I mean, they're very similar. It's just that Dallin's had more monster scores. Because if we look at Dane, his highest score is only 109. But it's just the consistency. I guess he's taking on the Sharks. He only got 37 last time. Who is he up against? He's up against Talakai, who... That's an interesting one. They're up against Talakai and Mulatalo, right? Yeah, that left edge. I know it's had some defensive deficiencies, but I don't know. I feel like Mulatalo is a bit more up and about lately. I feel like Talakai's got a bit of a point to prove as well. And also, Talakai is better just one-on-one, you know. You're not going to bust through Talakai that easily compared to other centers. Obviously, Gagai can definitely burn Talakai. That's the benefit. Gagai's got more footwork. He's better off the mark than Talakai, so he can definitely get to the outside. I'm so torn. But then you've got Dallin. Dallin's just got such good matchups. Fucking Dragons, man. Who I don't think the Dragons are actually that bad. He did get 175 last time he played them. He's not going to do that again. Oh, but he could. He fucking could. And I got... You know what? I think just for well, it doesn't really matter. I was gonna say for like fucking, what's the word? Duality? I don't know. But I've got 2 knights. Yeah, I've got 2 knights, and I've got I thought I had 1 warrior, but no, I've got 2 Tohu Harris as well. So it doesn't really matter who I go. I was gonna say if I went Dallin, I'd have 2 and 2, but no, fucking Tohu ruins that. I just feel like with the matchup, and I guess it is also nice having Dallin as a duel, maybe? Let's just have a look at how this looks. It looks good, I gotta be honest. I like the Dallin pickup. Wait, did I stuff up? Oh, no, it doesn't. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I just put Garrick to fullback. That's fine, I think. Although, I think we'll just do it like this for now, because I know Tedesco's out. Yeah, I think I just do this, right? I think I just do this. Gagai, I think, is also going to be a great pickup, but Dallin has shown that he has a bigger ceiling than Gagai. Gagai has only cracked the ton, once, twice, maybe? He's obviously got a lot of 70 and 80s, but Dallin has lower scores, but he also has those monsters. So I'm going with Dallin. It's going to make the Warriors games more enjoyable to watch. And if he fucking runs rampant. And yeah, I think that's all pretty good. I got nothing else to well, no, we got to talk about captain vice captaincies. Jesus. One of the more important aspects this week, because we have a free loop. We have a free loop this week. Now, okay, looking on paper, obviously Cleary is a good matchup against Eels, and I do feel like Cleary, he's close. He's been very good the last few weeks of captaining him, but he hasn't really gone off, since being back. 81, 109, 103, 53, and then 93. That's really good. But he hasn't quite gone massive. I feel like it's close. I feel like it could be this week. So I don't mind Cleary as vice captain, because again, I get a free loop, so there's literally no reason to straight captain someone. So let's, at the moment, well, oh man, this is actually tough. It is actually tough, because having a free vice on Cleary is lovely, but then the Warriors, I mean, if I look at my guys, Dallin is probably the highest ceiling guy I've got. So why would you not vice captain Dallin? It makes more sense, right? Against the Dragons, vice captain Dallin. And the funny thing this week, honestly, if the vice captain goes like 100 plus, I'm probably gonna take the loop because it's free. But there's some dangerous games coming up. Because if we look further, again, if you had Scott Drinkwater, I'd probably VC Drinkwater just with goal kicking against the Dolphins. The Dolphins do have a few backs, so that they should be up for it at Suncorp, but Drinkwater could still have a day out. Melbourne against the Titans, like Harry Grant. I don't know. I just would never vice captain Harry Grant. He's had some big games, but they're very inconsistent big. Cameron Munster, if you had, I think would be a beautiful vice captain this week against the Titans. I know the talk that Munster doesn't turn up that well against the lower teams, and last week was a good example, but I do think after a low score, Munster is more likely to go big the next week. So I'm predicting a Munster ton this week. I'd be shocked if he didn't. Roosters, Tigers. So I mean, how do you go past Joey Manu? Joey Manu at fullback, I think, has to be vice captain or captain. Then you've got Bronx Raiders. Yeah, I mean, Reece Walsh, if you had him, somewhat tempting, but I don't know. I still think the Raiders at their home ground, I think they're going to turn up. Bulldogs Manly. Cherry Evans actually firms as a very good pod. I'd be shocked if many people own him, but if you somehow own Cherry Evans, he's now going to have the goal kicking. Granted, Garrick is out, or even if Garrick plays, I don't know, does he goal kick with a back injury? Probably not. So Cherry Evans is going to be goal kicking. He's been really fucking good, and they take on the Doggies. So Cherry Evans, he'd be a super pod for the last couple of weeks if you had the trades and wanted to get rid of one of you guys. I probably wouldn't, but... And then the Knights Sharkies. So obviously Ponga has been in just sensational form, but... And even Hines, like, I feel like both those teams could do enough. It could be a very high-scoring game. So Hines and Ponga could be great. Oh, this is so tough. Oh my God. I honestly... I don't know. I think Manu has to be captain or vice captain. I just think he's probably the safest out of the guys to go at least well. Although, I mean, Ponga's been fucking getting 90s for fun. Oh, man. And then do I vice captain Cleary or Dallin? I know Dallin obviously has... Well, I mean, Cleary can go massive. Dallin probably, as of late, has the better matchup and the better ceiling at the moment. So you would think go Dallin as vice captain, but Cleary has probably the just better consistency of going 100 plus, right? And if I get 100 plus, I'm probably going to loop. So I don't know. But then if I do that, I'm taking away Hines and Kalen Ponga, who are both in their own right just potential big game players. And the Sunday 4 o'clock game, the last game in the afternoon, you're going to be basically death riding both of them if your captain doesn't go big. But I think at the moment, Jeez. Like, this is the most important decision this week. This is a massive decision, I feel like. Because a lot of people are going to have, like, a free crack at the loop, whoever goes the better two options here, or, like, at least one of them, they're going to have big weeks. I think there's going to be some big scores. But who is it going to be? Is Cleary finally going to score a try and get a couple of nice try assists rather than off kicks? Maybe. Maybe. The Eels, it's at the home ground. The Eels still have a good forward pack. So, I mean, the Panthers really shouldn't be, like, running over the top of the Eels. They got a good forward pack still. Obviously, Dylan Brown is still in great form. You got Gutherson there. Like, they're missing Moses, who is a big loss, but I'm going Dallin. At the moment, I'm going Dallin. I definitely could change this. It feels very wrong not to have Cleary or Hines or Ponga in a guaranteed loop week as either captain or vice captain. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens as the time ticks down. But at the moment, that's how we're looking. It's looking pretty good. We'll keep an eye to see if Garrick somehow comes in that team late. But if not, then we've got 16 genuine plays, and then Piakora is going to stink it up. But it is what it is. That's fine. I think most people are going to be pushing for 17, maybe have 18, 19 if if they didn't have many rabbits, I guess, or unlucky with fucking Tedesco and Garrick. But other than that, hopefully you guys are enjoying. We're getting down to the very meaty end of proceedings. And yeah, make sure to like and comment. I'll see you in the next one.